Today, we're stepping into a space of, well, let's call it quiet luxury mixed with high-stakes strategy. We are going to explore exactly how to transition from being an overworked operator, the kind caught in that endless daily grind, to becoming a sovereign architect of your very own digital empire. We're unpacking a master plan known as the Gilded Algorithm.
Okay, let's dive right into this master blueprint. Today's roadmap is going to take us through designing your sovereign agency architecture, meeting your AI workforce, and moving directly into high-ticket revenue recovery and the Gilded Compliance Shield. Then, we'll wrap up with how to actually mint your digital gold and leverage self-evolving agent memory.
Section 1. Sovereign Agency Architecture and the Pivot to the Obelisk Model. Because if you want to compete globally with the absolute biggest consulting firms out there, without expanding your human headcount, a foundational shift is absolutely required.
So, what is the Obelisk Model? Think of it as a tall, incredibly lean business architecture. Instead of a bloated team, a single human orchestrates a 24/7 army of agents to handle the analysis, the lead gen, the reporting, the whole shebang. Under this model, you're no longer just a consultant trading your precious hours for dollars. You are the lead architect of a fully autonomous system that literally operates flawlessly across every time zone. This architecture completely redefines your competitive edge. You see, the old way of consulting was selling digital transformation. Those broad, notoriously slow culture audits that took months and months to execute? The new way? It's a precision strike. You focus exclusively on auditing cash flow and delivering rapid revenue recovery. And this targeted precision is exactly what appeals to high-stakes private equity firms and companies doing over $50 million in recurring revenue. They don't want a long-winded culture shift, right? They want immediate recovery of leaked revenue to boost their EBITDA multiples.
Section 2. Meet your AI workforce. Let's get to know the vital 5 agents that serve as the actual engine running this Obelisk model.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how these 5 specialized roles form a completely self-sustaining ecosystem. First, you have the foreman, who orchestrates all the other subagents and keeps hallucinations in check. Then there's the librarian, acting as the brain, managing all that data storage and retrieval right inside your master playbook. The cryptographer is absolutely crucial, wrapping client data in AES 256 encryption so privacy is airtight. The scout is out there conducting real-time research and initiating agent-to-agent handshakes. And finally, the healer. This is your built-in maintenance crew, optimizing token usage and fixing broken workflows entirely on its own. They coordinate perfectly without needing messy external apps like Zapier.
Section 3. High-ticket revenue recovery, or, as I like to call it, weaponizing the ecosystem. This is where the rubber meets the road, and we apply this architecture to B2B sales to reclaim money that businesses are just leaving on the table.
The guiding philosophy here is brutally simple. We don't audit your culture, we audit your cash flow. We recover 10 to 20% of your revenue in the first 30 days, or we don't take a retainer. The reality is that every single missed lead costs a high-end business around $10,000. By using what's known as the Gilded Standard, your system diagnoses these leaks based on pure math. You aren't aggressively pitching the clients. Instead, you're presenting an undeniable, mathematically sound diagnosis of the massive annual donation they're essentially making to their competitors. Section 4. The Gilded Compliance Shield. Think of this as your 2026 insurance policy. We have to address the massive regulatory stakes emerging right now in global AI hubs, specifically targeting places like Florida and the UAE. $50,000. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the exact cost of a mandatory fine for a single, tiny, missing AI disclosure or a data privacy drift in these regions under the looming 2026 regulations. For a small or mid-market business, $50,000 is not just a slap on the wrist. That is a business-ending penalty. To protect against that nightmare scenario, the architecture relies on the triple lock fortress. Stage 1 is the policing agent, constantly scanning outputs against a 2026 law vault in real time. Stage 2 is the healing agent. Get this, it actually self-heals code and updates disclosures the very minute a new regulation drops. And Stage 3 is Sentinel Overwatch. This is your final veto. It freezes any output with even a 0.1% non-compliance risk. When you can look a CEO in the eye and show them you aren't just generating content, but actively enforcing a living legal shield, they will gladly pay top dollar for that enterprise-grade safety net.
Section 5. Minting your digital gold. So, once you've built this incredible ecosystem, how do you actually package that intellectual property to immortalize the system and create scalable wealth?
You do it by creating a digital product ladder directly from your chat histories and blueprints. You start folks off with a $199 digital hook, an accessible audit and roadmap. Next step up is a $997 specialist bot, which is a pre-built niche lead gen agent. Moving up the ladder, you offer a nearly $3,000 automation core, acting as a 24/7 sales closer. And finally, the crown jewel, a $7,500 multi-agent AI workforce setup. By structuring it this way, you're completely shifting from grinding for active money to generating passive monthly income, all while totally owning your market.
Section 6. Self-evolving agent memory, moving way beyond the prompt. This is where we dive into the bleeding-edge capability that makes your AI workforce truly autonomous and adaptive over time.
Under the TMEM framework, memory is no longer just about keeping a ridiculously long text history in a prompt or relying on lossy text summaries that forget the important details. Now, advanced models can write their experiences directly into their parameters, specifically into fast LoRa weights at test time. The agent is actually learning, literally absorbing experience into its core computation. Now, this highly technical enhancement accelerates learning using SVD-based initialization for the LoRa projection matrix, anchoring online updates to high-energy directions of the pre-trained weights. Okay, but what does that actually mean for us in plain English? It means the agent genuinely alters its future behavior within a single episode. It doesn't just read a note about what it did wrong. It physically adjusts its internal weights to never, ever make that exact mistake again. That is true self-evolving autonomy.
Which leaves us with this final, pretty provocative thought. When you look at the sheer power of these autonomous ecosystems and the massive revenue they can recover, you really have to ask yourself, will you remain an employee to your technology, just constantly pushing buttons and writing prompts, day in and day out, or will you step up and become its sovereign architect? I hope this explainer gave you the clarity and the exact blueprint you need to start building your own gilded vault. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.